with order 41. But nevertheless, you have moved the motion, so let me get somebody to second the motion. The Senator Karimi had a similar motion, so let him second the motion.
Karimi Sunday Steve. I represent the people of Kogi West. Mr. President, my colleagues, I want to thank the leader, the deputy leader for bringing this motion. The axis bordering Kwara South Senatorial District, Kogi West, and Niger State has become the axis of evil for these criminal elements. Mr. President, in the last 6 months, our people have been under attacks every day. Kidnapping, killing, and looting. In fact, a part of my senatorial district, every part of my senatorial district, all local governments in my senatorial district has been attacked by these people. And they even took over some communities. In fact, one of the commissioners that traveled with my governor to the affected area called me yesterday and said, you know they have taken over these communities. They did not only take over, our people fled from those communities, and they came, broke down their homes and took over their homes. That is the situation we find ourselves. Mr. President, one of those guys that was kidnapped and was with the bandit for months, when he was released, he made a statement. It's all over the social media that one of the leaders of the bandits said, your senator, he built barrack for soldiers to attack us. Yes, I built barracks, which I financed privately. It cost me a lot of money just to ensure security of that environment. They said, go and tell him with his barrack and his soldiers, we're waiting and looking for them, that we have generals in the field here. Mr. President, we've got to do something about it. Yes, the federal government is trying. They are planning to set up the forest guard. It's a noble move. But we need to do something urgently. Some people are benefiting from this criminality. They may also be planning because they know that they are losing the election already. You know, during 2023 election, some people plan and already brought criminal elements to Nigeria in anticipation that they are going to lose election and that Jonathan will not. No, that was 2015. That Jonathan will not, 2019 I mean to say, will not leave government. But we thank God he left voluntarily. That was 2015. Yeah. Those same people, Mr. President, they are aware that Nigerians, they are now realizing that the good work that President Tinubu is doing, and that their plan to stop him, they are not going to succeed. I guess they are resorting into violence. They are resorting into causing mayhem. And we've got to move fast and stop them, because they are definitely going to lose the election, and we will not allow them to bring this country down because of their selfish ambition. Our people are suffering, and we've got to do something promptly. Thank you, sir.
Voice today. I'd like to, with your permission, commend the mover of this motion for the facts he has stated with regards to what is happening in Kwara State. Like we said earlier, Mr. President, they say injury to one is injury to all. Anything happening to any part of this country affects the whole. But listening to Senator Karimi, it is true that these violent criminals are advancing towards the south. They're doing a lot of damage, as you rightly said, in Kogi State. But they have crossed Kogi to Edo North. And when the mover of this motion talk about the need to establish a military barrack, I was just going to remind him that in Edo North, in Agenebode, we have a military barrack that has been there for more than 15 years. Well equipped. They even deploy people from that barrack to the northeast. And yet, within that local government, we have experienced series of killings, including targeting students in a minor seminary, many of whom have been kidnapped. They are Catholic priests, as well as some of the students. I think it bears reminding the Chief of Army Staff that he has to refocus and give firm instructions to military units, at least to guarantee their area of operation. But I have difficulties with the last part of my Senator Karime's statement about the political aspect. I think we have to be careful not to politicize what obviously is a criminality across the country. My plea, sir, Mr. President, in line with what we've done before, is to keep on reminding our armed forces that the battle is on and they must be seen to consolidate on the gains that have already been achieved. I am very sympathetic to the fact that many young officers and not so young have been wasted in their quest to defend us. While I acknowledge this laudable effort and the progress that have been made, I think it's important that we remind the armed forces that each day a Nigerian is kidnapped, particularly near a military facility. Our people feel discouraged. In Okwela, where we have 2 giant cement factories, 6 civil defense officers were felled by kidnappers. 6 of them in one fell swoop because they were protecting the expatriates working in that factory, and they managed to escape with 1 or 2 of those expatriates. But the men in uniform, civil defense, paid with their life, 6 of them. And that is why I have difficulties in no one can downplay that men in uniform and women in uniform are fighting hard to protect us. We just need to urge them to refocus, to re-strategize, and to recognize that if we are making gain in any one part and the criminals are migrating to another part, that is not a total gain. There has to be a strategy. I am limited by the fact that I can't lay claim to any knowledge of security. If you are pouring water from one side, it will be moving to the other side. So we need to cage them. There has to be a concerted effort to cage from the south, so they don't migrate to the south, as well as keep pushing them from the north so that you cage them at the center and find a ways and means of wasting them. Otherwise, my fear is that each time something happens near an army installation, people say, if this can happen near a military barrack, what about those of us who don't even have military installation? But I want to acknowledge what the armed forces are doing. I want to acknowledge the progress that have been made, but they need to be reminded that they need to work harder. And that is why I was a bit worried last week when a former chief of defense staff published a book called The Stars. I wasn't quite sure what to make out of his interview the following day, when he seeks, in my view, to almost suggest that it's a political something. I think the armed forces have a duty to stick to their mandate, focus on the job at hand, and ensure that they do not allow distractions. I don't think this thing is just political. I think there are people who are determined to make money. They found kidnapping as rewarding. They find, yes, you kidnap somebody, you pay, regardless of what the government might say. Individual family people are unable to resist paying a ransom, and every ransom you pay is an incentive for more people, for the people to go back and kidnap again. But I want to salute the armed forces and urge them through your leadership, sir, that there is still much more to be done. Thank you very much.
Headlong. And we shouldn't bring in politics. This is one issue that threatens the very fabric of our existence. One salutes the very bold efforts of our armed forces. But then, we must appreciate the fact that security is everybody's concern, and that we cannot make any meaningful progress if we remain in the straits as we are. So on behalf of Kwara South, I want to align that the migrant in Kwara is toothache in Akwa Ibom. No part of this country is safe when another part is in trouble. So there's a clear need for us to look at this issue from a very broad perspective and approach the concern with every seriousness that this deserves. Once again, I'm worried that with the wonders of technology, we are still facing this crisis, because this clearly is a setback to us. But I believe that if we approach this issue as a collective, and then we strengthen our grassroots, I said earlier on this floor that once we strengthen our government system, we have had a pathway to fighting insecurity. Our grassroots, where these criminals come from, so every effort must be done to strengthen the machinery of government at the grassroots, and then we, as a people, must see these measles, because this has become a measles spreading very fast, and no part of this country is spared the agony of these measles. So as a Senate, we have to work as a team, put aside politics, and address the major concern that this issue confronts us as a country. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Sadiq Suleiman Umar. I represent Kwara North. Mr. President, let me first thank our colleague, Senator Lala Ashiru, for bringing this to the Senate attention once again. Mr. President, my distinguished colleague, we've gone around this repeatedly, and for information, Kwara, we benefited from very good peace for a long time until the bandits and kidnappers started seeping in from the borders, and they started from my area, actually the Kwara North. Alhamdulillah, the government of Kwara State, the federal government, there has been good collaboration and effort, and that side is being, brought under control. Now they have moved to Kwara South again, and my sympathy to our people in Kwara South, because there has been a lot of suffering in that senatorial district as well. But the state government and the federal government are collaborating with the military structures as well as local vigilantes to see that this is brought to an end finally. However, Mr. President, while we represent our people and bring up what happens to them, the key tool we have as legislature constitutionally is our investigative powers and our oversight function. And I think we need to bite harder. Our security committees, they need to be grilled better. They need to give us updates more regularly. Let's understand what are the gaps, what do they need from us. As far as I'm concerned, as a National Assembly, we've been supporting these institutions. And of course, we hear various conspiracy theories that there are some people benefiting from this. Why shouldn't we know who these people are? This to an end finally. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
I know at least 9 senators who brought motions connected with insecurity today. So I'm using this motion as a point of contact to answer all the other ones that we cannot accommodate today. So this will be the last motion, and we'll just move on to other things. That was why I said everybody should talk. It's still going to be the same thing. So let's quickly just run into the prayers. And thereafter, remember that some committees are meeting with their Ghanaian counterpart in the office of the Deputy Senate President. And then the Russian ambassador will be around by 3 o'clock. So we met, and today was also partly ceremonial as a result of the swearing in of our colleagues who are yearning for us to join them in their receptions. And we have to also allow them to go and receive their constituents who came to celebrate with them. So we may have to rush and postpone some of the things we would have done today and move them forward to tomorrow. So let's go into the prayers. Senator Shu. Prayer 1, urge the federal government to establish a permanent military base in Kwara South Senatorial District near the forest belts of Ifelodun as a rapid response hub, and mandate the Chief of Defense Staff, Inspector General of Police, to deploy additional troops and special units to clear the forests and restore normalcy in the affected communities. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, call on a National Emergency Management Agency to immediately provide humanitarian relief to displaced persons. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, direct relevant security agencies to identify and prosecute local collaborators aiding bandits operations in Kwara South and other affected areas in the country. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4, mandate the Senate Committees on Defense, Police Affairs, and National Security and Intelligence to undertake an on-the-spot assessment of some affected areas and report back within 2 weeks, and mandate the Senate to invite the Minister of Defense, Chief of Army Staff, and Inspector General of Police to brief the Senate in plenary on the coordinated federal response to insecurity in Kwara and other areas so affected. Those in support of prayer 4 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 5, observe 1 minute silence in honor of the forest guards and vigilantes, traditional leaders and innocent citizens who lost their lives to bandits' attacks in Kwara South Senatorial District and other affected areas in the country. Those in support of prayer 5 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. May we rise for 1 minute silence in honor of the dead.